And a very good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to USITT New at Noon. My name is Cody, and I will be your host of these New at Noon sessions every Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Although our conference may have been canceled to the COVID-19 pandemic, our commitment to education and training has not and will not stop. Every Monday through Thursday, USITT will bring you at least 2 educational sessions, New at Noon and Forum at 4. The New at Noon series will be very similar to our new product showcase that takes place every year at the annual conference and Stage Expo. Companies who were set to take the stage in Houston will now take our virtual stage here on this platform to exhibit the latest tech in their industry and answer questions that you may have live here on our Zoom and Facebook Live feeds. This series will also feature exhibitors who were new to exhibit with us in Houston, and obviously we're not able to do so, but will join us again in Columbus next year. The Forum at 4 series will take a selection of sessions that were to be held in Houston at the 2020 conference and turn them into our new virtual platform. These webinars are brought to you by the various USITT commissions, presenters, and exhibitors. Be sure to tune in live each and every Monday through Thursday for a unique chance to connect with industry experts and leaders and get all of your questions answered in this new live virtual environment. You can find more information on these weekly offerings and register for them on our website at www.usitt.org, as well as our social channels on Facebook and Instagram. Today's New at Noon session features Frank Brault, Senior Entertainment Technologist with Vectorworks. Frank, before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're going to be covering in today's session?
Okay, so my name is Frank Brault. I've been with the company with Vectorworks for, close to 30 years now. And I've been working in various capacities. Vectorworks is a software that I helped to start with by writing the first version of Spotlight, and it was called the Theatrical Lighting Toolkit, and that goes way back. Right now, I want to talk about the beginning of Vectorworks 2020. So this will be a little more apropos, a little more up to date, and a little more fun to talk about.
For all of you out there, either on Facebook Live or on Zoom, if you have questions throughout this presentation, please feel free to use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen to submit your questions. Frank, during this presentation, I will be moderating those questions, and I will jump in and ask those for you so we can get those answers live to you here on our webcast today.
Okay.
Without further ado, Frank, I will turn the controls over to you and let us start talking through Vectorworks.
All right then. Welcome to the New at Noon presentation by Vectorworks. Thank you for taking time out from your busy quarantine to be with us. My name is Frank Brault once again, and I'm broadcasting today from my home to your home. Okay, for those of you who don't know me, and you should, I wrote the first version of Spotlight. It wasn't called Spotlight, it was called the Theatrical Lighting Toolkit, and it was about 1996. And I've been with the company ever since, but enough of that. Happy April, everybody. I'm hoping to make this presentation reasonably interesting and at the same time make a plug or two for my company, Vectorworks. So let's be on our way. Okay, show of hands. How many of you have seen Vectorworks 2020 so far? I'm going to have to share my screen for this. Share. Hopefully you can see my screen.
So with our virtual hand raising, we've got 24 people raising their hand right now.
Awesome. All right. So that's great to know. We have a little bit of interaction then. Maybe this is something we can do with the new product showcase over and over again. So, I'm going to switch to the next screen. Here we go. And okay, so one thing I wanted to talk about today is that we support scenic design and documentation in addition to the traditional lighting design and documentation that we normally concentrate on. It turns out that all the features in our design and drafting environment are equally applicable to the design of this discipline of scenic design as well. As a matter of fact, we offer tight integration with our product sharing feature, and which has been upgraded this year with a dedicated server to make it faster to update the project file and more reliable as well. So what I'm going to try to be doing is putting in little bits about what's new in Vectorworks 2020 along the way. You can project share with other designers and technicians, such as the lighting department. You can use multiple common formats to share images and files with the costume department, publicity, that kind of thing as well. Okay, so I wanted to show you an example of one of the benefits of using Vectorworks as a Scenic application. Right now, very often you will work in association with a tech director who will communicate the details of your design so you can build it. If you're working in Vectorworks, you can share the model with your tech, and tech director will be able to develop their construction documents. Here, I've separated out one of the flats, and I'm going to, I'm using the working plane tool, and I'm going to look directly at it, and now I'm going to use an invert or a rotate command to get the backside of the flat. And now I'm going to use the double line polygon tool, and it's simply to, not too many people do this, but I'm able to frame this elevation directly on the Scenic designer's work. So I'm just taking polygons and drawing them out, and it's very quick. I speeded up the video here just because of time consideration, but it took me about 7 minutes to make this all together. And right now, all I got to do is those pesky diagonals, and the diagrams, I'm just going to draw them in and let them overlap for a second. And then I'm going to, Vectorworks has a very nifty clip surface command, and I'm just going to use the overlapping lumber to make the clip. And there you go. So I offset, it's ready for dimensioning here. That's about it. Looks ready. I'm going to continue. Seems to be going backwards instead of forwards here. 1 second. Get my buttons right. There we go. So one of the new features in Vectorworks 2020 this year is our interactive patch function for lighting designers and programmers. There's a little video to go with this. It's an entirely new way to patch your show that you will recognize because it's the functionality in lighting consoles very often. You can start by putting your fixtures on the truss the way you normally want to see them, whereas in the past, you would use a Spotlight numbering tool, which is in fact still there in case you prefer this method. But now you can open up the patch window in Vectorworks, see your fixtures arranged by position or type, ready for numbering. Everything is interactive. It's fault tolerant, where you can start the process of numbering, and if there's a conflict, you can drag the representation of the various fixtures around so there's no overlap. And in this example, we have 2 different types of fixtures, and we patch by fixture type. And when that's done, we can see that there wasn't enough room, and so then we switch to the second set of fixtures. We're just able to drag that second set of fixtures to the next universe. So that was pretty straightforward, hopefully, and it's a little hard for me to see everything going on at the same time here, but okay. There's a few rigging updates which are supported by Braceworks, our load calculation add-on, with hinged truss elements which keep track of the weight applied to the individual sides of hinged truss connections. Okay. I'm going to start the video for this. It's all new. There we go. We now support tilted truss so that you can use the rotate tool in any view. So now you can have all sorts of tilted truss in your designs, and this has also let us simplify the truss libraries because there's no longer a need to have separate horizontal and tilted versions of our truss objects in the library. When you are working in a model-based environment, you don't want to duplicate any model elements because all your quantity takeoffs are going to be inaccurate. So, yet we still want to see multiple simultaneous views so that you can understand all the aspects of the design. So starting in 2020, we now support schematic views of our truss objects. And I think it's rather well done. The schematic views are exact duplicates, but they don't duplicate the quantities. Here you can see the original truss models and the additional schematic views of the same objects. And you can see that you can have the truss in top plan and create schematic views that don't show up in the takeoffs. It's like magic. These schematic views can exist in multiple views, even in the same drawing space. And when you move the fixtures attached on any view, all the others update as well. So dig that. Okay. Vision. Okay, let's admit it. Shows are getting more complicated. Moving lights and associated DMX, SSEN, ArcNet, controlled effects like projections and so forth, and haze, animated scenery, making shows spectacular, but they also make them way more complex than Leico's, Fresnel's, Parkans, and stuff that I used to use when I was designing back in the 80s or the 90s. There, I said it. So, so Vision takes the planning information from your Vectorworks document as well as the console setup with your patch version and constructs a model that can animate the cues of a production. This lets you get into a whole lot more detail about planning before you are before you're going to Tech Week, and Tech Week isn't getting any longer either. So Vision is our previsualizer that is deeply integrated with Vectorworks through GDTF fixture definitions and MVR production model definitions to be able to pass production information between the Vectorworks documentation and the console and other running gear in the show. Vectorworks and Robe Lighting are founding members developing these open formats along with MA Lighting, the actual instigator of this idea. By the way, we now support a fully connected workflow between Vectorworks Spotlight, Vision, and consoles that support the open file formats. Okay, we're now offering ConnectCAD as an add-on to Spotlight. ConnectCAD is ideal for laying out integrated systems such as audio processing setups and networked lighting. It has tools for schematically documenting the equipment and locations of gear for these systems, as well as the connections, how they're organized, along with what signals and power flow and other among the various components. It's really good at defining devices with any number of ins and outs, as well as defining what was connected to what. This pairs quite nicely with our cable tools feature, which we introduced in 2019 called Cable Tools. It's used on scale drawings instead of in a schematic view, and to plan the cable runs, which is as well as tallying the quantities and the general lengths of the cables. Okay, training. I'm going to start talking about free stuff now. We have made all of our training available for free during the pandemic. Now, so I just want to go through some of these training options that are now free. I'm going to start this little video. So we have 3 levels of training. The free stuff on YouTube, that's still free. But now We also have premium training videos, which you usually have to pay for. So all of these videos that go into a lot more esoteric features and do so with a lot more detail are free for the time being as well. And finally, we have classroom training. This in-person training is where a Vectorworks employee teaches you in our facility, and you don't get out of there until you know the product. Folks, this is also free for the duration, and all you have to do is to get yourself to our office, and I think they even provide lunch. Don't say that. Don't quote me on that. All right. Training comes in two flavors: core concepts and intermediate concepts. And you can see a schedule of these on our website. And there's the schedule.
And Frank, just to let everybody know that's watching and viewing us right now, we will get all of these links to these free trainings that you guys are offering. We'll get them and post them on our USITT.
Hey, I'm starting to see people here. Wait a minute. Hi, everybody. There's a lot of people. All right. When I say start waving, everybody wave. Oh. I have one more free thing that's available for our academic faculty and students, particularly those who are planning to graduate this year. You can get the best. So first of all, Spotlight is a free individual license for you and your lab, if your professor has a lab available. Vision is a free individual license, and this is pandemic or no, we do this as a matter of course. Braceworks is available as a free lab license to your professor, and ConnectCAD is available as well as a free lab license to your professor, and 40% discount for students who are graduating, and we give that for up to 1 year after you graduate. So that's it. Stay safe out there. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Frank. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, yes.
Perfect. Thank you. So we've got a few questions. We will get those answered. And I just also wanted to let everybody know that thank you so much to Vectorworks for offering those sessions for free now during this. And we will be sure to get all those links over and posted on our USITT resources page as well. Yeah, we've got several different companies that are offering these types of things. So we'll make sure that those get posted there. I also just wanted to point, while we're on the topic of that website, I just wanted to point out to all the viewers today, we do have the schedule for all the webinars listed there. We have any of our companies and members that we work with that are offering any other free online educational content themselves. That's all posted there. We also just opened up signups for our online resume doctors and our online portfolio reviews. Those are two things that we would have had at the conference in Houston, but we are opening up those for online signups as well. So just be sure to check out the website, usitt.org, for all that information. We'll get into some questions now. We have our first question. With all the updates, will all of the updates be available in the educational version?
Yes, they are. The educational version is actually our the same exact version. It's just been rigged in a certain way so that it makes a watermark, but otherwise they're identical.
Perfect. Our next one is, what is the difference between schematic view and viewports?
Okay, so a schematic view lives on the design layer, and it is dynamic in the sense that you can change the appearance, you can change the views, you can change dynamically, and as opposed to with a viewport, you would have to go into the object info palette and change it. You can more or less interact with it like it's a piece of geometry. It's really quite astounding because you make a change in one and you can see the change go through the others. And you can have multiple instances of these. So you can have a front view, a side view, a top view of as schematic views, and then it's sort of repeating except in a different view.
Awesome, perfect. Thank you so much for that. Our next question is it possible to create a plot in Vectorworks, transfer it to Vision, and then import it into Capture so that you can use the ETC editor, or does the ETC editor work with Vision?
I'm not sure. I'm going to say that I haven't heard of this yet, so I'm going to say that I don't think so. But I will have to get back to you on that. The real thing we're talking about here is MVR, My Virtual Rig, the production format, and then the GDTF format for general device type format, which is going to be an open standard. We are implementing it. I don't know if any of you remember when DNX was first put out. There was a lot of holes and a lot of tearing of hair and so forth. But when this format becomes available and the lighting manufacturers and console operators manufacturers have bought into it, then I think things will be much better. There is probably a way to do it, and what I have to do is I'll research it and get to you on that.
Okay,
I think you mentioned that we could answer these and post on your website. Okay, so let's cut to that and then.
Perfect. So Alex, you asked that question. We'll get you some more information shortly on that answer. Okay.
Right, you can hold me to that. I'll find that information. Capture is great. I'm not sure if they read our live streaming information. That's the only thing.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we'll get you some more information on that then. Nicole asks, will the full version be available to students? Yes,
actually, we ship to the students. They get a copy of Designer, which includes all our products. So in addition to Spotlight, there's the Architect and Landmark as well.
Perfect. Donald says this may get answered, but if not, how does 2020 interface with LightRight 6.0? How does it? I know that we are compatible with the latest version of LightRight. I'm not sure what that is. If it's LightRight 6, then if that's in fact the latest copy, the latest version, then we are in fact compatible. Okay. We have a question from one of our Facebook viewers. Dustin on Facebook says, is there a way to integrate automation software into Vision?
Automation. There is not a way to integrate. We can simulate it because any object that you can place in your Vectorworks file and import into the Vision software can be DMX controlled. So you can simulate, but you can't, it's not going to actually run the same commands. So if you wanted to show a director what you were thinking about, that would be one thing. But if you wanted to simulate the actual cues and the data stream that you would need to provide the piece that you're trying to move, then you would not be able to do that.
Okay. Our next question, would the schematic view allow for an easy way to create lighting booms for on plots?
Really what you want to do is make a model that is all the booms, all the truss, all the pipes that you need, and then make schematics of those. The idea is that the schematic views don't count as in your quantity takeoffs. So it's kind of, the concept is one way. You can kind of project information into these schematic views without affecting the model. But what you want to do is create the model with the lighting fixtures the way as usual, and then you'll be able to create the schematic views from that, as opposed to trying to use schematic views for the actual objects in the model.
Perfect.
They're projections of the model as opposed to the model itself.
The model itself. Okay. This is a question for you personally. What's your favorite new or improved feature in Vectorworks 2020 that everyone should use? This is an interesting one.
The schematic views are definitely right up there for me, and the full round trip MVR between Vectorworks and Vision is also one of the ones that I really like.
Perfect. If you have time, we have like 4 more questions that are in the chat. Is that okay?
Okay, I'm watching my clock.
Let's see. Is this session being recorded, and where would I find it later? We are recording them. We will send an email out to the attendees once we've got the recording edited and put together, and we'll let you know where that's at. You can also find this on Facebook Live, so that one's answered.
Facebook Live.
Taken off. Let me just see. Some of these have already been answered. This one comes from Gareth. Gareth says, I could see the schematic view being ideal for lighting booms or other vertical elements in a plan. Would that be correct?
Like I said, the vertical elements should be made up of lighting devices as opposed to a schematic view, because the schematic view is going to look right, but it's not going to count, and it's not going to be able to turn on a fixture, for instance. You're not going to be able to focus it and that kind of thing. So it's not going to act as a lighting device. It's going to act as a schematic view. It's going to look right, but it's not going to be able to do the things you want it to do in a light plot.
Perfect. Has there been any updates on how Vectorworks works with AutoCAD? This is coming from Nicole.
We are working on that, and I really can't say much, but I have to say that there's things in the works.
Perfect. Nicole, it's a top secret information, but you just got a little bit of an insider peek. It's in the works, right?
Well, we're always working on stuff,
Exactly. And then let's do our final question. What consoles are currently supported by Vision?
Really, anything that can spit out a DMX or a SACN or ArtNet signal. So any of those consoles work fine. It's not the console; it's really console agnostic. Really, it's simply looking at the data coming out of the console, and it could be really anything that can run it.
Awesome, perfect. Thank you so much, Frank. For those of you, if we didn't get to your question, I will send the question log over to Frank at the end of the meeting. If he has the time to answer them, we can get those over to you as well. Frank, thank you so much for your time today. I know everyone, we're presenting from our houses. We had a little bit of a rough rehearsal trying to get all the audio kinks worked out, but I think the presentation's gone very well today, and I think our audience has enjoyed it. So thank you so much for that.
You're quite welcome, and it was a pleasure. Thank you, and I'm happy to make your acquaintance. And we did some good we did some good improvising there.
Yeah, exactly. Improvising on the fly. That's what it's all about. The show must go on, right? Perfect. Thank you so much again, Frank, and to all of our viewers out there. We hope that you enjoyed the session today, and we look forward to welcoming you back to another of our online education and training sessions in the near future. Later this afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be presenting another forum at 4 featuring 3D modeling for theater and exhibit design. If you haven't already registered for this class, you can do so on our website at www.usitt.org. Just keep in mind there is a limit just due to the webinar platform that we are using. So make sure to register as early as you can for those sessions if they do fit your need. Just a quick note on that as well, that we are updating our website every Thursday for the following week. So be sure to check out the website tomorrow for next week's webinar series. We have some really exciting and important information to share with you next week as well. We'd also like to thank our friends at the American Society of Theater Consultants for their generous support in making these webinars and broadcasts possible. We really thank our friends at ASTC for that. At the completion of this webinar, you will be directed to a short survey. This survey is just to make sure that we're bringing you exactly what content that you want. And if there's anything else that you need, we can try to put our resources together to get that to you as well. It's just a quick survey, so if you have a moment, please do complete that for us. And once again, thank you for joining us today. These are a new way of bringing information and technology to you, and we hope that you are you're enjoying these. On behalf of all of us at USITT, we thank you for joining us, wishing you all the best, and have a great afternoon and stay well. Thank you again so much, and we'll speak to you soon.